Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, can you talk about what it means to be free of ourselves?
Well, on a very basic level, but it mean, look, we all have tension. We all have anxieties, fears, insecurities that we develop inside ourselves as a way of somehow protecting ourselves against life. We all suffer from these things, and we need to get free of them. And as long as we're full of all that kind of neurotic stuff, there's no room for God. There's no room for spirit to really exist inside us. It's an endless battle inside to get free of oneself, to get free of all of that, those encumbrances, the mind never shutting up, the emotions like quicksand, the sexual energy, very strong and usually kind of drives people crazy. And as I always say, you put the three of those together and you have the local insane asylum. If there's no discipline, if there's no focus, if there's no grounding inside, if the heart isn't open, we have to get free of all the things that keep us from truly being at peace with ourselves. That's what this meditation is all about. It's really learning through the development of a chakra system how to live at peace with oneself. And when you live at peace with yourself, there's room for higher energy, God, spirit, whatever one wants to call it, to come into your heart to, you know, there's love, there's gratitude, we really tap the highest levels of our own humanity. We got to get free. We're not born that way. I mean, look at children that are born, what they're like. They're the sweetest, cuddliest, delicious things. I mean, you can't take your eyes off them. There's so much innocence and sweetness coming out of them. And somehow between the age of zip and about 5 and 6 years old, it all gets lost. And the way we regain it is we have to get free of all of that stuff that congests us inside and keeps us from truly being happy people. That's what meditation should be about. Because you can't have a spiritual life if you're congested with yourself. So it's all about transforming the things that are killing us into life-giving energies. Jealousy, fear, insecurity, being a victim all the time, competing with everybody, believing that all this transiency, which we call life, the material world, is all that life is about. And it's not. I keep saying it over and over again. The one person that we're all up against is ourselves. You get free of yourself. Understand, you will be able to connect with other human beings in a profound way. There'll be happiness, joy, love. We live here like human beings should live, not with all this madness that goes on in the world. And one thing I've learned in my life, and really, I mean, look, I'm in this position of somehow being a teacher. But one of the things I've learned about it, I don't know better than anyone else. Everybody is there in my life to teach me something that I have to learn about myself. And in order for what I talk about, as I said yesterday, to come through, I have to get out of the way. And I can't get out of the way if I'm jealous, if I'm a victim, if I'm guilty, if I'm full of all kinds of anxiety, neurosis, and
Stuart, I have a question.
yes,
Um, all the things you were talking about, um, when you're dealing with others in the workplace, at home, wherever, and a lot of that is happening within them, what is the best way
the best
to
way
deal
is what
with
I
that?
just spoke about, Carol. You understand, look, if you have something to protect in yourself, if you have something that is competing with other people in yourself, understand you'll never be able to deal with anybody. If you really are grounded, if you've developed chi and that power in the core of your being, your heart is open, you understand, you're not full of guilt and anger and rage and all that stuff. You understand, you can see the world objectively and you can make a really clear decision. Nobody's going to, nobody's going to upset you. It doesn't matter how crazy they are and how much ego they have and they're not going to upset you because you're not going to be intimidated by anybody else. You have found the one connection that gives you the strength to deal with anything that goes on the earth, and that's your connection with God, Spirit. And you never have that connection if all you have inside yourself is insecurity, fear, competition, anxiety, jealousy, guilt. And it doesn't matter. Other people, what they do, just teach you about yourself. And if you get swept away in somebody else's insanity, it means you haven't built a system inside that's strong enough to be able to not allow somebody else to suck your energy out of you that way. And look, frankly, to think that we live in a perfect world is a very foolish way of looking at the world. Most people that live in this world are completely unconscious. There's huge ego, there's, all that stuff. They're full of it. And we have to deal with it every day without allowing it to get inside us and rip out our guts. You've got to build the chi, the power in yourself that gives you detachment and the ability to deal with somebody else's stuff without allowing it to eat you alive. And to live without living with expectations that people are going to be perfect. They're never perfect. Especially people, family, my God, I'm not against family. It's a very important thing in life, but one of the major things you learn in family is how to get stronger, to deal with the stuff that people you love bring to you in your life without being upset at them, judging them, being angry at them, but just being capable of dealing with other people. You got to have enormous strength inside to deal with family, look, I spent 20, 30 years in business. I mean, the insanity I used to have to deal with, you wouldn't believe. Well, you would believe. And I finally learned that the only way I can deal with it is I got to get stronger inside. I can't allow it to get to me because there are decisions I have to make and people I have to interact. And I'm not capable of changing them. They have to change them. And most people don't make any effort to change themselves. So what's my alternative? I got to get strong enough inside that I can deal with these people without allowing them to drive me crazy. I mean, how many times have I said, I can't remember one day in my life where the world hasn't been crazy. Just pick up a newspaper, for God's sake, what goes on? In the home of the brave and the land of the free. Look what's going on here. We're becoming a fascist country here. It's unbelievable. When I was born in 1942, right? Young men were killing themselves to fight for democracy. You know, and now, what's going on here? I can't change that, but I can get strong enough in myself to be able to deal with it. And the way I get that strength is by being connected to spirit and getting the energy, the wisdom, the knowledge I need to live my life. Not from a heart, but from a higher source of energy. Got to be open inside to do it. Can't be encumbered with guilt and fear and insecurity. Got to get free of yourself. And then you can deal with other people.
Thank you.
The problem isn't other people. The problem is ourselves. You understand that? We need, okay, this is what they're teaching. I have to get stronger. They're not changing. And if I don't get stronger, this is what I'm going to have to deal with. You know? And I got to get stronger in myself. You have an exercise, a meditation is basically what it teaches. And there's another element to this also. You know, in order to get stronger, you have to be connected to spirit. Now, spirit isn't some I'm okay, you're okay kind of energy. It's really powerful. It's infinite energy in the universe. It encompasses, it brings together life and death and eternity and the universe. And the energy is beyond all human comprehension. In order to connect to that energy and allow that energy to nurture you, your covenant with that energy is to build a system inside that can do it. And if you don't build a system, your karma, it's going to tear you apart. The higher energy will burn you alive. It's too strong. I mean, how many times have I said it? You know, when I was younger, I read the Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna reveals himself to Arjuna, and they're talking about if the light of 1,000 suns suddenly appeared in the sky, that was the manifestation of God. I mean, that blew my socks away. How do you get strong enough to receive that kind of energy? You got to build a system. We're born on the earth to learn to do two things, to work out our karma and to get connected to spirit. Both of these things require incredibly strong inner lives. I hope that's clear, you know, because it's so important. That's what I mean, it took me years to learn this, and I'm giving it to you all in a paragraph here, you know. I wasn't, years it took of working on myself to learn what I'm talking about today.
Stuart,
Yes.
do the people that we draw into our life tend to mirror where
And
we're at with
Larry, you have to, I didn't understand what you said.
do the people that we draw into our life mirror where we're at with our inner growth?
Exactly. You know what you know, look, look, I decided, just a little offshoot here. I decided today that I'm not going to mess with agents and publishers. I'm just going to publish this book I've written. I think this book I've written is a very important book. So I'm going to just publish it, you know? And you know, hopefully within a month or two, it'll be out and everybody can read it, you know? But the whole book is about exactly that. Like we attract into our life exactly what we give off. And as you change inside, you begin to attract different kinds of people. And we attract these people to teach us what we have to do to change inside. So instead of being upset at them, bring them a flower. Say, thank you for teaching me what I have to do to change in me, because I have attracted this energy. Now, when you begin to see the world this way, your life starts changing. You don't get upset. All right, this is who I am. I got to change. Then you got to work on yourself to really change. Take full responsibility for yourself. And we all attract everything, you know, because human beings are very complex and we attract all kinds of situations. And don't be upset at them. All right, this is who I am. I got to change. And some of it is pretty terrible to look at, you know, to finally accept we have to change inside. And the incredible, I know it from my own life, you change, you attract different kinds of people, different situations, work situations, relationship situations. But the book I've written, there's an awful lot about this in there. The mirror of karma. Karma is the mirror image of all of us, and everybody sees a different world. There are two people in this class here who see the same reality. And everybody is trying to fit everybody else into their reality, and nobody fits. Nobody fits. So there's all this conflict and outrage and anger, and nobody fits. Instead of, okay, I got to learn something to get bigger. What is your reality teaching me about me?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Bob.
Is it a fair request to ask somebody to change with love, that you do that with love and respect? Is in that context, is that a fair request?
I think it's a very fair request. I mean, if you have to spend time around people and all they're doing is making it, you may just say, hey, look. When I told this to somebody the other day, they were telling me about their boss and making her crazy and competing with her and this and that. So I said, why don't you go up to your boss and say, look, we're working for the same firm. We got to make money for this firm. Wouldn't it be better if we sit down and just talk to each other about things and work out all these problems and, instead of fighting with each other? It's the same thing, Bob. You can talk to people like that. Say, look, I got to spend time around you. I really want to be able to allow our relationship to work. Yes, I think it's very important. But you got to be really open, strong inside, and you have to be able to speak to people, not from the heart, not judging them, not being upset at them, not being, letting the heart talk. I care about you. We see things a little differently, so maybe we can defer to each other and learn from each other. And also, if somebody doesn't want to change, you can just walk away. It's enough. I've had enough of this, you know? You understand? You have every right to say, no, I don't need to be involved with this situation anymore. I mean, we just all have to be more human in the way we interact with other people and with ourselves. Does anyone else have a question? I'd like to ask?
Thank you, sir. That was very good.
You're welcome, Bob. You're welcome. Good question. Okay, if there are no more questions, there will be meditation tomorrow, both in the afternoon and in the evening. Jennifer will teach tomorrow evening. God bless her. Part of her growth, and I'm really happy that she's doing this. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you. Bless you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, sir.
You.
You're welcome.